Hello there, my name is Jaja, and today I'll be showing you how to draw realistic lips with charcoal pencil. These are the tools and materials I'm going to use today, so grab your tools and let's start drawing. There are a lot of wrinkles and folds on these lips, and that's what challenged me to do this drawing. And I'll start with my soft charcoal pencil, so I'll deepen the outline of the lips. And I'm going to take my time to do this because I'll use them to build the wrinkles and the folds. And I want to carefully shade the shadows around the teeth. So let's use a soft charcoal pencil for the shadows. This time I'll focus on the vertical lines. I'm deepening these lines because I don't want them to disappear. And it's time to use the palette knife and charcoal powder for the first coat. The palette knife has a pointed tip, so I can use it to draw more vertical lines. The palette knife is also helping me to build form and texture. I'm carefully following the flow of the lines in my reference photo. If I had used a charcoal pencil, I would have gone back to use a blending stump to blend. But here, the palette knife is doing the work, so I wouldn't have to blend again. But don't worry if you don't have the palette knife. You can still use a blending stump to achieve these results. And if you haven't subscribed, kindly subscribe and share. Now that I have the first coat, I'll go back and use my soft charcoal pencil to give another coat, and I'll continue to shade in a vertical direction. So this is helping us to add texture to the first coat. So I'll continue to work with the charcoal pencil and the palette knife to get the effect that I want. Our drawing might not look too good at this stage, but let's not worry about that. Now I realize a lot of the vertical lines are disappearing. So I'm using my charcoal pencil to deepen them again. And I'm making sure my charcoal pencil is pointed enough to create thin lines, because I don't want those lines to be too broad. There are some horizontal marks on the upper lips that you have to work on too. I'm not going to draw exactly what I see in the reference photo, so I'll exaggerate a little. Now the horizontal and the vertical marks on the lip look okay. So we can move to the next stage. It's the first time I'm using the brush to blend here. And I'll start blending the shadows and the dark areas on the upper lip. I'm using the brush and charcoal powder, that's why you see charcoal powder residue. And we will continue blending in a vertical direction. And I realize the form of the upper lip is coming out. And I want to focus on the shadows on the right side of the lips. It looks like my lines are disappearing, but I don't have to worry. I'll use a soft charcoal pencil to deepen them again. So here, the brush has given us a 3D effect. And I've also been able to soften the marks on the lips. So I'll move on to the next stage by working on the wrinkles. And the best tool to start with is the Tombow Mono 0. To be able to get the wrinkles and the folds right, we have to know the source of light. And the source of light is from the left side of the lips. So the light will cast highlights on the right side of the vertical line and below the horizontal lines. So I'm going to identify all the major highlights and use the Tombow Mono 0 to work on them. I'm just outlining the highlights, so I'm not worried about how they may look now. And I'll use the charcoal pencil to start building the wrinkles. So I'll go ahead and use the brush to work on the shadows in the wrinkles. And I want to pay attention to the edges, so I'll use the brush to clean the edges. Now we can move to the next stage. And it's time for us to use a kneadable eraser. And I'm using it to work on the highlights again. This eraser doesn't clean everything, unlike the Tombow Mono 0. So I'll use the eraser to create more thin lines that I couldn't draw with the pencil. The kneadable eraser is a game changer when it comes to drawing lips. I'm using this eraser to also build the wrinkles. I'm okay with what I have done so far, so I'll move to the next stage. So I'll get back to my brush and use it to work on the teeth. I'm using the brush because I want a very smooth texture on the teeth. Here, there is no need to use the brush to pick charcoal powder. I'll use the charcoal that is already on the brush, because if I use it to pick new charcoal powder, it might mess up the teeth. And I'll continue to shade in a vertical direction. Let's not forget that the base of the upper lip is casting shadow on top of the teeth. So I'll blend that area in and darken it a little. Now we can see the depth in between the teeth and the upper lip. So I'll use my charcoal pencil to deepen the dark areas of the wrinkle. I want the wrinkles to pop out. With this, I've already started with the details. There is a lot of work to be done on the upper lip, so I'm taking my time to draw the individual lines and shadows with my soft charcoal pencil. This is the stage we have to be patient with the upper lip, and you can add more texture to the upper lip with the soft charcoal. And if you haven't subscribed, please take a second to subscribe, like and share. And we're going to use the kneadable eraser to soften the highlights on the lower lip. I think here is the most challenging part for me, because I have to work on a lot of details here. So I'll use the kneadable eraser and Tombow Mono 0 for the details here. And it's a bit difficult to exaggerate here, so I'll carefully study my reference photo. And I'm using my Tombow Mono 0 to work on the highlights again. With the final stage, I'll use the charcoal foam applicator. I want to enhance the curve and the shine on the lower lip. So I'll lighten the middle part of the lower lip. And the best tool for that is the charcoal foam applicator. And I'll use my soft charcoal pencil to add texture to the darker areas of the lips. At this stage, I'm okay with the drawing, but you can choose to add more details. Once again, thank you for subscribing, and don't forget to like and share.